Imagine the freedom of venturing off the beaten path, the thrill of being self-sufficient in nature, and the joy of going on an incredible journey of discovery and adventure. But in the smallest truck possible. Overlanding can be loosely defined as off-road camping with a vehicle and typically traveling to remote locations. A good overlanding vehicle generally has a lot of cargo space and towing capacity, ample ground clearance, good suspension, and oversized all-terrain tires. The problem is, I don't have one of those big fancy vehicles, but I do have a mini truck. So let's see if we can make this work. This is my 1998 Honda Acty. It's a tiny little pickup truck from Japan in the Kei category. The Kei classification, spelled K-E-I, restricts the overall length and width of vehicles. So to maximize usable bed space, they put the passenger and driver ahead of the front wheels and the engine under the back. That means you end up with 6.5 feet of very usable bed space, and it does cool stuff, like this. So now you've got a tiny little flatbed. The 660cc engine is under this panel here, and it produces about 40 horsepower. That 40 horsepower will push this truck up to about 65 miles an hour. The Acty is right-hand drive and has 3 pedals, as all good cars should. And it has a 5-speed manual transmission that powers the 4-wheel drive drivetrain. As you can see from this beautiful wood and aluminum steering wheel, there's no airbags in this truck, and there's no crumple zones either, which means the safety is somewhere between a motorcycle and a modern vehicle. The truck weighs about 1,500 pounds, and the bed can carry about 750, which means the truck can carry about half its weight in payload. This truck has heat but no AC, and came with a lot of optional extras like this radio, which gets all the stations in Japan. Okay, so here's what we're gonna need for this build. First off, we need some more ground clearance, so we'll go with some bigger wheels and tires to lift this thing up off the ground a little bit. We're also gonna want a winch for the front and a bumper to hold that winch, as well as a light bar for the roof, so we can see better when we're deep in the woods. Then of course, we'll need to build a custom rack for the back to hold our bicycles and our rooftop tent. The first thing on my to-do list is swapping out my current 12-inch tires for these 13x5-inch off-road mudders. Okay, so we got new wheels on the left side here, old wheels on the right, bit of a lean here. Let's check the height difference. Okay, height with the new wheels we have 26 inches at the fender. Let's go check the old side. On this side, we have 24 inches at the fender. So the bigger wheels essentially give us a 2-inch lift. That's pretty wild. That's a lot of lift. So with the wheels and tires installed and running well, my next step is figuring out how to get this winch on the front. So my job's gonna be to make some sort of bumper that can hold the winch and then wire it all up. So I was hopeful about attaching the off-road bumper to these bolts here, which also support the plastic bumper, but this is essentially just a body panel. I'll show you from the inside. That bolt that's on the front there is actually just right here. This is just the front of the truck. There's not much here. You can even see it's a flexible panel. So those points on the front, holding the stock plastic bumper, not an option for mounting anything that's gonna be load bearing like an off-road bumper that's holding a winch. Now my other concern is the front approach angle. I don't wanna add anything to the front that's gonna decrease the approach angle because this is already, well, it's already pretty bad. And so I wanna minimize any protrusion forward that would extend beyond that approach angle and decrease my off-road abilities. But this truck does have some really nice stock protection underneath for, you know, brush and logs and rocks. This thing's solid, it's load bearing, it's mounted on frame points. And so what I'm thinking, I weld a heavy tube parallel to this tube on the stock rock guard and extend upward along the angle of approach to give me a little bit of platform where I can put in a winch mount here and also provide a bit of protection for the radiator. Okay, so here's what I've come up with. Our winch is bolted to this flat shelf here. We've got a vertical piece in front of the winch here, holds the roller nicely. The bumper itself is attached to the stock factory little rock guards here, welded directly on, all attached to proper frame mounting points underneath. I love the way this final build looks, and I really love how it's tucked up underneath the front of the truck. It really doesn't reduce my ground clearance at all. Although I'm very anxious to see how it works out, if it pulls the truck, if it functions as a winch is supposed to function, but we'll find that out later. So for our light bar, we took this bike light and then copied and pasted it 10 times to make this massive beast of a light bar. To make this light, I first cut the optics to size before gluing them together. My friend Tom from Outbound Lighting designed custom printed circuit boards containing both the colored and white LEDs. He then soldered those together, added on LED drivers and batteries, and then attached it all to an aluminum heatsink. I also designed and printed a shell to hold the whole assembly, as well as a charge port on the back and GoPro mounts on the bottom. Let's turn it on. We got light on the top, 3 levels, and rainbow mode. I love it. So this is the custom rack I put together. It's just a couple of crossbars, so relatively straightforward, but serves an important function. It allows us to hold bikes and the rooftop tent above the height of the bed, and because the sides of the bed fold down, it's easy to access stuff that's even at the front of the bed. So this truck came from Japan with this baby blue, what they call headache rack on the back of the cab. It's not a perfect match, but I did find in the hardware store here a near perfect match for the rest of my components that I'm building. These crossbars and the supports are constructed of 1.5-inch square steel tubing, and each set of crossbars is through bolted through the bed with 4 bolts per foot, and it is very solid. These are 1UP USA bike racks, and they are made to work really well with DIY projects like this. They can bolt around almost any shaped bar. As you can see, they work really well here. And the rooftop tent is bolted on in a similar fashion as the 1UP racks. Now, rooftop tents are all the rage these days, and I think the hype is deserved. Since the tent is mounted on your vehicle, it means that weight's not really an issue like it is with a regular tent, which means the tent under here is made with some pretty heavy duty fabric. The waterproofing is great, and it's gonna last a long time. On the mini truck especially, it's so nice having the tent at this height. Easy to get in and out, and not a big ladder to climb down in the middle of the night if you need to use the facilities. What do you think? What'd you think? Oh yeah, that is comfy, huh? Our friends at Hampton Lumber have given us access to something like 95,000 acres of beautiful property in Washington's North Cascades and a giant map. We've got places to explore here and here and down here. Now we're about to get all loaded up with our gear for a couple nights out in the woods, which means with 2 bikes, the rooftop tent, all our food and supplies, there'll be quite a bit of weight in the back here. So we'll see how the 40 horsepower from our 3-cylinder engine does against some steep hills and off-road terrain. Joining me on this trip is my wife, Lisa, and our friends, Claire and Blake. We're gonna see how their more traditional off-roading vehicle compares to my modified mini truck.
This is a 1997 LX450 by Lexus, which is just a Land Cruiser.
So this is a luxury Land Cruiser.
Luxury Land Cruiser. What we've got here is some luxury trim and luxury leather, which is in pieces, but it is luxury.
Sweet! First taste of off-road, and it feels good.
Just feel like we're sliding around a little bit.
Are we sliding or just floating?
Probably floating.
The steering is so vague, the suspension is pretty loose.
Oh boy.
What's up?
I can feel the car sliding a little bit.
I think the mini truck could go a lot of places, but it is not a comfortable ride compared to something with modern suspension. It makes a pretty mild dirt road feel pretty rough. All right, we've just switched. Claire was back in the Lexus for the last bit of the drive. Now she's in the mini truck for the first time off pavement.
Expecting a much less cozy ride. A little wobbly.
Initial impressions?
A little wobbly.
A little wobbly?
Oh, are we hitting the bottom?
That's the bottom. That is the, yeah, that is using all 2 inches of suspension travel.
Oh my gosh. This is more fun. This is like a roller coaster.
So far we've learned this is not the most comfortable way of getting around, but it was time to put this mini truck to the test to see the extent of its off-road capabilities. We attempted to drive the mini truck up onto a stump for a photo op and ended up going a bit too far. With all 40 horses trying their best, the mini truck just could not reverse its way out of this situation.
Yeah, I think it needs some pushing assistance.
Eventually we decided to just move the log and the rocks, but it still took a couple tries to get out.
Up and drop that clutch, brother.
Oh! Yeah!
The Lexus, on the other hand, had no trouble whatsoever. On the plus side, our mini truck really shined in the next comparison, as it can turn around almost anywhere. The luxury Lexus required a bit more maneuvering. For our next challenge, we found a steep bank to test out our approach and departure angles. Look, just gonna hit the bank.
You got space still. Yeah, okay, now I feel like, there it is. You hit it. There's no going up, unless we make a ramp.
Not a chance, right?
No. Yeah, you're at it.
Okay, I'll try the back.
There's a chance here. Yeah, no, you're good. Keep going. Yeah! Okay, now you're stuck.
Am I stuck?
Oh, no, you're good. Oh. Yeah!
So in both situations, the off-road ability is limited by the front. Time for a comparison with the mighty Lexus.
Yeah! Okay, bikes are touching.
Yeah, that's some space.
Clearance right there.
All right, let's turn around, try the back. Stop.
Oh yeah, bikes are going in. Yeah, it's there. Oh no, stop!
The mini truck beat the Lexus here, but only due to the position of the bike rack on the Lexus.
Scratch, no dice.
All right, so can the Harbor Freight 2,500 pound winch pull a 1,500 pound mini truck?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No problem.
Easy.
Not even straining.
I think we need an obstacle course with some rocks.
Next, we found a nice sloping log to show off the suspension flex on the mini truck. Flex is a term used to describe suspension movement in off-road vehicles. The more flex a vehicle has, the more it can conform to the underlying terrain, meaning it can move over advanced obstacles without losing traction. The mini truck does not have a lot of flex, and in this test you can see it showing off all 2 inches of suspension travel front and rear.
Oh, got it. Limited slip, but not locked.
Nope, not locked. On the plus side, the truck is light enough that it didn't break this log. After our testing was complete, we headed back out. While the ride wasn't as comfortable as the Lexus, we still made it to the top. That is stunning. Holy cow. After getting our camp set up, we cooked dinner on an induction hot plate since we were in an area that was at high risk for wildfires. Luckily, the induction cooktop, the large battery and inverter we needed to power it, as well as all our cooking supplies fit easily under the custom rack in the back of our mini truck. Oh my God. I packed things up after dinner, and once the sun was set, we did a quick test of our light bar, and it was looking great. Using the bright white setting, it was significantly brighter than our headlights, and it made driving at night a breeze. We got our tent set up with beautiful Mount Baker looming in the background, its glacier glowing in the late evening light. Look at these chumps sleeping on the ground. Good morning. Look, it's your kingdom.
High fives.
Look at that tail wagging. After a great night's sleep, I made a couple rounds of lattes, and then we packed up camp and headed back home. Can't forget the camera. In conclusion, I'd say that using the mini truck as an overlanding rig has been generally successful. It's a fun rig. It's my favorite vehicle that I've ever owned. But given the option, looking for practicality and capability, I would probably pick something like a single cab mid-90s Toyota Tacoma over this 97 Honda Acty. And there's a couple reasons here. Now, one of those reasons is the 40 horsepower engine that sits under this cover. When I added the weight of the rooftop tent, the bikes, and all our gear, I could not top about 42 miles per hour. As I mentioned in the intro, the level of safety on this is somewhere between a motorcycle and a modern vehicle. Now, there's a situation that made me think about that a little bit differently, which is when I had the bed loaded down, the rooftop tent right behind my head, and all the weight right behind my back, thinking about the lack of crumple zone ahead of me and the single body panel between me and the load in the bed was not a very comfortable feeling. Is the mini truck going to replace the F-150 as the most popular truck? Sorry, not just the most popular truck, the most popular vehicle in America? No. But I'm so happy that the Key truck is having its moment here.